Hello everyone, welcome to the Belgian Grand Prix, the F1.5 EU Championship. Round 10 is upon us. Let's see how this one will go. We're in qualifying at the moment, 10 minutes on the clock. Verf currently takes the top time, a 0.842 for them, a 8.47 for Rare Winter, and an 8.58 there for Jericho Willis. It's pretty close in qualifying, but Frantic's just gone and changed that completely as they take provisional pole, and who will not be taking provisional pole is Samaxon. The championship leader has started the race event not in the best way possible, actually crashing on their outlap, I believe it was, Zingy, and that's not going to be great starting from the back around Belgium. How is that going to be? Is it easy to overtake around this circuit?
I mean, you see in real life, Verstappen obviously had that P14 to P1. And yeah, it is easy to overtake here. You've got coming into Lecombe, you've got coming into the bus stop chicane, first corner. There's parts in the middle sector where you can maybe lunge it down the inside. So there's quite a few overtaking zones. There are also two DRS zones as well throughout the lap. So I think it wouldn't affect him too much. He should be able to get back into those top positions. But with how long it will take him, it might compromise his race a little bit. And maybe Frantic and Verf can get away at the start of the race.
Finishing a lap with Brothers cool, and they do improve, but those tyres are pretty old. There is a reason why they've done that. It's a very, very long lap around here at Spa, as you can see on the timings. So you do kind of have to just stay out if you mess a lap here and or now and again. Now, there isn't that much longer to go in this session, so everybody has to be careful about that, and I think that's why Brothers Cool has tried to make sure that they just set that lap time. They've still got a big gap to the other cars, but if they can get some fresher tyres on, then they'll be good to go. I am sure of it. Verf is once again on a lap here to try and get back that provisional pole position. Of course, being very competitive throughout the season, missing out on a few opportunities to win Grand Prix. Can they do it here? It could be possible. If not, they've got the home Grand Prix coming up next week. Zingy, they go through Lecombe chicane. Can you take us through it if you feel that you can do that?
Yeah, I can try my best if it's for Verf, that's for sure. He is 300s up, sorry. He's purple in the first sector. And that will be too frantic, so he is actually purple, unlike what the game says sometimes. Long right-hander, a bit of a lock-up on the front right, understeering a bit, coming into no name now. You want to ride the curb on the outside a little bit before swinging it in, getting right up close to the gravel. You've got Poulon coming up next. You want to ride the curb on the outside, swing it in as much as you can, but not turning too much. And on the exit, you want to hold it to the inside for a bit and then hold it outside. And then coming again into Piff Path, you want to keep it to the right-hand side before swinging the car in left. Nice traction there, not getting too squiggly on the exit, now coming down into the third sector. He wants to hold it on the curb there nicely. He's 3.5 tenths up, well nearly 4 tenths up I should say, so that should be very close between him and Frantic. It looks as though he will be on pole position if times stay as they are. He's not got much battery left. I would have personally saved some for this last straight coming through Blanchimont now and into the bus stop chicane. You want to break roughly around 100 metres, which is what he's done there. You want to get up on that curb there. He's went a bit wide, he's squiggled a little bit on that entry. On the exit, he gets some good traction down. I don't know if it's going to be pole. No, it's not. He messed up that last sector and only gained by 2 tenths. So it's unfortunate, but he doesn't know he's got 2 tenths to find in that lap.
Yeah, still an improvement for sure. 6 minutes on the clock, almost 7 minutes. Do you have enough time to go for 2 laps, or is this only going to be 1 more lap for Verf?
No, it's going to be one more lap for Verf. But he can improve, he knows that, and I think a bit more commitment, a bit more pushing, and maybe smarter energy usage, he could be in the chance of getting that pole position.
Awesome. A bit more commitment, Zingy says. Hopefully Verf can find that commitment.
Okay.
I can't say anything. I do that all the time. Anyway, Jericho Willis, he is on an outlap right now, looking to try and stay in this championship fight. Simaxon says if they finish 6 points over Jericho, they can knock out Jericho from this championship. To visualise what that would look like, it would be Simaxon to get P1, another driver get P2, and then Jericho could get P3, and Simaxon would win. eliminate Jericho from the championship. Frantic, it's a little bit more complicated. Obviously, they aren't the championship leader, but it is closer. And currently, with the momentum they have in this session, they should be good to go. Of course, getting some experience in yesterday for sure will help them a lot. And also, some acts on doing that as well. We've got the reserve drivers of Tom, Rob, and Peanuts, who will also have some experience. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with Peanuts, but yeah. Currently, Frantic has that top spot. Jericho Willis on an up lap as well. I'm just trying to see who is going to be completing a lap next. It looks like it will be... Is Terence, or is it going to be Willis?
A lap. So, starting a lap will be Jericho Willis. I'm not sure about who's going to be finishing a lap anytime soon. Peanuts has just cut across the track there. I do apologise, Peanuts. That's probably going to be a penalty. He's just cut across the... the calm section. Philly like me. See that other one.
Yeah, not ideal, but it is what it is now. Jericho Willis will continue their lap, and we will see how this one goes. I am going to quickly hand it over to Zingy while I try and sort something out. I will be back in a minute.
Yeah, Peanuts parking on the side of the track. He will be trying to disqualify himself as a higher tier driver. There's a Mercedes just coming around there. That'll be Fireball. Is he on a lap at the moment? No, not at the moment. He will be just on his out lap at them for now. Jericho Willis, who we're talking about, is on his proper lap now. He's 2 tenths up in the first sector. That would put him currently P2 ahead of Verve. He's still got 2 sectors to go, and he needs to be pushing very hard here. There's Peanuts parked on the right-hand side. He should be fine there. Peanuts disqualifying himself nicely. Looks so Jericho Willis coming through. Pull on now. Keeping it nice and flat, a bit wide on the entry. He's going to lose a bit of time there. Coming into Piff Path now, the fast right-left chicane. He's going to hold it to the right-hand side and then flip the wheel to the left-hand side. Very nicely done there. Running up on the curb beautifully. He's going to brake, coming into the third sector now. Run it wide on the curb. He's 2.5 tenths up in that middle sector. He's going to have to find a bit more time here. He's using the overtake. He's saved some battery for this back straight, which is what I've been telling the drivers to do, and they seem to have, well, someone seemed to have listened, and that is Jericho Willis coming through. Launch him on now. Very nicely done there. And coming into the bus stop, you want to brake around about 100 metres, as I said before. Get up on that curb that Jericho has done very nicely. And the last one as well. Losing the back end on exit as he tries to get the traction down and up to the line. It's going to be P2 by 7 thousandths of a second. Frantic still remaining on pole position for the moment.
That is an awesome effort right there. So close. I think that might be their last lap on fresh tyres. They would be able to get another cool down lap and then go again. But that is a brilliant effort right there from Jericho Willis. Zingy, do you think track evolution would still give you enough of an advantage on a slightly older set of tyres to actually improve on one final run?
Oh, I'm not sure, because we've seen that track evolution around here, on this game anyway, didn't actually seem to be that beneficial for some. I'm sure of it anyway. I didn't feel it on my lap, so I'm not sure how the rest of the session's going to go, but you can definitely gain 7,000. Frantic's gained 700s, and he lost the back end coming into the third sector. And he looks like he's on an improvement lap. He could be on for 42, 3 or 2, depending on if he gets this lap right.
For sure. We'll see how it goes. Just a quick note, Samaxon, of course, despite retiring early on before setting a lap, they do at least start ahead of both of the higher tier drivers, which will be very useful for their race, of course. Frantic, in the meantime, has gone and improved. Late on into the session, that might be their final shot at going for that pole position, and I think it might be enough. It's a good effort for sure. Will they be able to hold on to it? We'll find out a little bit later on, of course. Barry hasn't set a lap yet, still in the pit lane. I don't know if we'll see them out, but it is too late now. They will not be able to set a qualifying lap. So actually, Samaxon has been very lucky and will start P9 in this Grand Prix. Not entirely sure what happened to Barry. Hopefully they can be in this race, of course. leading the constructors, and I believe, if I'm correct in saying, they've probably taken the victory in the constructors because, yeah, they've just got so much more points. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if Frantic can get another lap in. We'll see if Joko Willis can get another improvement lap in as they do start one more. We've got a lot of cars on outlaps, and there's going to be a little bit of traffic as we see the Aston, the McLaren, and Verve very close together. That will be Gergos and Terence. But they seem to be all good for now. Joko Willis going through the first sector. They'll go to the Lecombe chicane. We will see what the delta time is looking like and what will happen regardless of that. We'll see if we stay on board with them 2 tenths down. I don't think it's going to be possible. It's going to be a very difficult one. Verf, however, Zingy is going to be going to that sector line, and we'll see if they can improve.
Yeah, Verf's going to be one of the last top runners anyway to get through that sector line. DRS open for the Cyber driver. He's going to have to hook up the column section very nicely. Coming up to the Spectre Split now, he's only 600 down. He could still do it. Flinging the car nicely through there. A bit scrubbing off speed, which is not what you want to do, but he keeps it on track, which is the most important part for the moment. Coming now into this long hairpin. He want to keep the car as high revs as possible, get the car turned in nicely for No Name, run it out wide to the gravel, not touching it though, as we see Gary Kruger retire from the session without any lap time. Coming through Puon, you want to touch that curb. He's actually used the curb for rotation, which is absolutely perfect for him. Coming into Piff Path, of course the right left chicane. You don't want to touch that curb on the right hand side because it will just spit your car out and you will be in the wall. And coming now into the third sector, you want to brake and then turn nicely there, not too sharply, and he's 1.5 tenths up. That's not going to be enough for pole position, but it will be enough for that second place. It looks as though Terrence behind him is going to get a bit of a slipstream, considering how overpowered the slipstream is in this game. He will be getting a bit of a boost there, so Terrence could be on for a shock, maybe P4, P3 if he's lucky. Verf needs to get these last 2 corners out very nicely. Cutting the first one, he's cut it too much. He's cut it too much, and that is him. P3 at best. We need to see what Terrence is going to do up to the line.
Oh no, and Terence spins in the background, I do not believe it! A dramatic way to finish qualifying, and Frantic, I think regardless, is going to be on pole position. Will Fireball be able to do anything about it? They're going to come around the final few corners, they exit the chicane, they've also had a bit of a moment, it's not going to be enough, they will stay P8. Frantic is on pole position for the Belgian Grand Prix, and that is an interesting end to their qualifying session. Frantic takes victory in the first stage of the event. That's Joko Willis in P2 and Verve in P3. That's the rest of the grid. We will go through the race director and then we will see you in a little bit for the start of the race. How about that? That was awesome. The 2 championship contenders on the front row of the grid. Ready? Hold! Go! Who's going to get it into turn 1? Joko Willis on the outside. Frantic still gets the good traction, and they will lead into the first corner. Verf gets ahead of Joko, and we've got one of the racing bulls. That's Rare Winter, who jumps ahead. That's P4. Terrence in P5 right now, as Brenner's Call drops down behind the Aston Martin. A brilliant start right there for Frantic, but will it last for long? Into Lecombe chicane. Verf will get the slipstream. They'll have the ERS, not the DRS, but they might be able to get there. They pull to the inside line. Are they going to get ahead enough? They do get ahead. They've got the inside line, and they lead the Belgian Grand Prix as they exit turn 7. Absolutely awesome stuff right there. We've got the championship leader moving up ahead. They go to P8 as Fireball Fury has got ahead of the McLaren driver. Barry starting at the back, near the back of the grid, stays at the back of the grid at the moment. That is Verf taking the lead of the Grand Prix.
Oh, and there's Fireball out. He's crashed on the exit of No Name, and that's a safety car already. Looks as though he just lost the back end there. But yeah, as you say, Verf getting up into that first place on that soft tire. He needed to do that. Now, would it be unreasonable to say you could go from hardest to the end? Because we had a safety car lap 3, if you remember last night. And those hard tires were 30% when we finished the race. And I was on controller as well, so you can imagine that people on wheel can definitely manage those tires to the end without any issues. So, do you think some soft runners, maybe Bread is Cool or Rare Winter, who aren't really like directly up there, Do you reckon they'd try and maybe pit for that hard tyre to the end?
I mean, yeah, they can definitely make it. It's going to be very slow towards the end. I reckon Barry goes for it. I reckon Barry goes for it to try and make sure he helps his teammate. Verf doesn't go for it. He's leading. He's trying to not lose any track position. Frantic goes into the pit lane, but it's crucial. If no one else follows on, then they are going to be at a disadvantage. But everyone, well, not everyone, but a lot of people do follow on. That is crucial. That is good for Frantic because now they have only one medium tyre runner in between them and the soft tyre runners whose tyres aren't going to die off that soon, considering it's Belgium, but it will be obviously fairly soon. Now, that medium tyre is going to be quick. Whether Frantic will be able to hold on, I don't know. Those hard tyres are going to be cold and going to be very hard to fire up during safety car conditions. Is that the right call? I think it's the... It feels like the safer strategy. But Verf obviously leading, they want to try and make it work. Jericho Willis, exactly the same situation. They want to try and hold on to those top spots and hope that it works. That's what Nifo did back in Saudi Arabia. They tried to stay in front, stay out of any incidents, and it worked nicely. Frantic now has to try and overtake people to be able to get in that same position, and so does the championship leader of obviously Senexon.
Yeah, Frantic needs to overtake people, but he doesn't need to stop again. So he'll have around about what? So like from the soft tires, probably it depends on when the safety car comes in, but we'll just say within 3 laps of the safety car coming in, you'll have advantage on the soft tires, and then like 4 or 5 laps it will be the medium tire you'll have advantage on. So even without that advantage, Frantic obviously got pole position, one of the fastest drivers in this field right now. So he will have the ability to get past these front runners. It might take a few laps, but he just needs to make sure he does not get overtaken by any of the hard tyre runners behind him. It is crucial for his race that he keeps ahead of them more than he overtakes other drivers, because I would say essentially they're out of it, but Spa's got a really short pit lane, and we've seen last night as well that Charlie had an amazing recovery drive up until the last corner. Mm-hmm. He came from P8 was it, I think? Something like that, P8, P7?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and he came all the way back up to, well, it was going to be second. Is the safety cars coming in, or is there... No, okay, there seems to be a bit of a position swap glitch, Aaron. Bread's taking the penalty. And,
okay, so yeah, that's frustrating for both of these drivers. If there's not another safety car and they don't pit, they might be able to get that removed, depending on what happens. Hopefully those guys can just report the incident and have a look at it later on. That's unfortunate. They're serving it, so maybe they think it's legitimate and it's not worth staying out. That does mean that they're going to have to go off the hard tyre, and unfortunately, they won't be in a great position. Tom Robb going into the pit lane as well. Maybe they've got damage from whatever happened just then. They do.
Yeah, I think they're just... these guys are coming in to serve the penalty. Tom, I should say, actually, has got damage, so... But unfortunately for him, he's a higher tier driver anyway, so he won't have too much impact on the race. He understands that there's a championship fight going on. Bread is cool coming in for the medium tyre. I mean, yeah, he can't really change onto the hard, can he? So, very unfortunate for Bread is cool, but he could do the one stop from here, as we see Charlie doing it before. So, it's not all over for these guys. There's still a long way to go. It's only a few laps. It's a few less laps than what you'd imagine. Sorry, I should say. But remember how long the laps are. So many corners. It's a minute 48, 49 I want to say for the race trim. So you've got a lot of time and a lot of laps to make up that difference.
And he's effectively going to be on the same strategy as P4 Gogo. It's going to be just as difficult for them, so we'll see. They've just got a bit more track position to try and gain on that medium tyre. They will be very, very quick immediately off the bat, so they don't need to give up right now, even though it is slightly less optimal than they would have been hoping for, of course. But we'll see how it goes. It's a tough one, but they obviously think it's legit. Samaxon obviously thinks it's not legitimate, so they're going to try and get it taken away, or they're just trying to not lose track position, as they actually have their closest championship rival directly in front of them at this stage. Verf will lead the safety car restart, and Jericho Willis will be the one to react, but we're waiting for that confirmation. Those soft tyres, Zingy, do you think they'll be able to break away DRS immediately or not?
No, no. Who was on soft tires yesterday? There were a lot of people in that voice chat that I was in were complaining like children about it because the soft tire was just so bad. It's not an insult to them. It's just how bad the soft tire was. They just couldn't get it fired up properly, and they just after a lap or two they just kind of died off. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Paradox taking the lead here within the next few laps because those soft tires are just going to die off.
For sure, and it depends on who gets the best exit as they leave La Source and go up to the Lacombe chicane for Rouge and Radion as well, down the Kemmel Straight. Verf is going to be restarting the safety car. The safety car hasn't gone in quite yet. They could go at any point right now. When will they do so? They come through the bus stop chicane. And now they go for it. Jericho Willis was right there, but didn't react so well. That 6/10 advantage that Verf has just got. And I think if they can get a decent corner right here, the Sauber will be able to hold on to that lead as they go down into the first chicane. A rolling start. It will mean that everyone's slightly further away from one another as they do head down this straight. So I think they are in a good position. Verf will take or maintain that lead unless it goes horribly wrong here for the Sauber, as Jericho Willis isn't that far away. They've managed to make it 4/10 as Rare Winter hasn't been able to gain. Are we going to see a move with Sir Maxon, who looks to the inside just for a moment, but it will not change in the end?
No, not at the moment. He realises that he's got that penalty and that he's got a long way to go. You can see Tom Robb already making the move on Bio Kruger as well. So those hard tyres are very slow to begin with. You're going to see a lot of mistakes. There's going to maybe be some gaps developing between the front runners and the hard tyre runners. They have no grip initially. You need to really warm it up on safety car restarts. As we see Frantic coming through a pull on there, you can just see there's no grip. So if these guys can stay in DRS the whole time, that's very good for their race, but I wouldn't be surprised if they drop off. But at the moment, it looks still Peanuts is not doing as well as the top two on hard tyres. So this could be an opportunity for these two to break away from the rest of the pack and have just a two-way battle for the race win.
Yeah, we'll see. Ray Winter needs to try and close up a little bit more if they want to be in a good position to hold on to that DRS range. Otherwise, they will be under threat from that medium tyre and bring the two championship contenders with them, of course. Ray Winter's teammate has definitely realised how fast that medium tyre is compared to the hards, as they were almost in the back of Barry a few times as they went through that first sector on the restart of the safety car. The fastest lap is displayed by Jericho Willis, who has managed to make it now a 4/10 gap and quite possibly will be able to lead. Rare Winter makes another mistake. I want to say will get a DRS. They've just about done enough. They will get the DRS right there on the cars ahead. It will mean that I don't think the McLaren will be able to get the move. But here we go. Jericho Willis is going to try and take the lead of the Grand Prix here in Belgium. They're going to go to the outside line. They're going to back off and Verf will hold on. They go slightly towards the racing line. It's going to be Sir Maxon to the inside, but they back off of their rival. They're not willing to go side by side. Will they have a look into the hairpin? I think they will. They go to the inside line. It's an interesting call to back off and then go for it side by side here. Frantic, doing everything that he needs to do to make sure that it's not easy for Sir Maxon. Sir Maxon trying to take different lines, but it's not quite working out.
Yeah, Frantic. Oh no, Frantic's left. Aaron, keep commentating. I'm going to try and invite him back.
Frantic is disconnected in a crucial battle at this stage of the race, and unfortunately it's all over. Sir Maxon fighting hard, but now it's completely changed. They didn't need to fight hard after all, and they're going to lose more positions. They go behind Peanuts, they go behind Tom Robb, and Terrence is going to be looking to try and make that move as well. What a shame. If it's not been hard enough for Frantic in recent races, it gets even harder. I do not know what to say. Such a shame. Hopefully they can rejoin in a few moments' time. Verf and Jericho Willis continue to lead. This time around, Ray Winter hasn't got the DRS.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate for Frantic, but very fortunate for these top two runners who have pulled away 1.3 seconds from Rare Winter. It will close up as he comes through the first corner. A bit of a back-end loss for the Racing Bulls driver. He's going to be under pressure from Parados in a moment's time coming up for Rouge and Radion. You can see the McLaren getting closer. You can also see Jericho Willis right up the rear end of Verf, who's going to go right around the outside, no bother. Same with Parados. He's going to get that slipstream from afar. and that is Jericho Wells up to P1 and Paradox up to P3, who's on that medium tyre, remember. Obviously, these guys need to stop again, and they're going to have to push their heart out to really, really make something of this race. And on that medium tyre is what Rare Winter gets a penalty. On that medium tyre, he should be fine. It's Frantic that's retired from the session.
So what's happened there is that their car is disconnected again, and then automatically in the F1 game there is a bug which means that it retires your car. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that one. Frantic's connection issues have just completely messed things up, and that could be potentially the championship over here for the Dutchman in very, very early and controversial fashion. Yeah, there's nothing we can do about that unless there's going to be a race restart if there was a bug. For the rest of the grid, I hope there's not a bug. For Frantic, I hope there is a bug. But I don't think it's going to work out, and that is such a shame right there. But continuing to not fix bugs is the developers, and there's not really much I can say other than I do apologise to all of the drivers for the issues that they have suffered. Multiple drivers have suffered from that bug throughout this season, and it continues to plague us, and it has affected the championship battle. So I do apologise for Frantic, but right now it's going to have to stay as it is. Hopefully they can have more opportunities later on to get back in, and we'll see how it goes towards the end of the championship. But right now Samaxon has just got to keep their cool, and they could be in a very good position here. Verf, are they going to be looking to go for the lead? They're not. They don't have pressure from the McLaren behind, so they don't need to risk anything. We will see Rare Winter go to the inside of, that is, Samaxon, and retaking that position on that soft tyre.
That's interesting. Now you can see though there's no grip at all. So Maxon's going to go back up the inside. He's going to try and hold it around the outside Rear Winter is, and he's actually doing it not bad. Although Maxon's got patch, you got to give it to Rear Winter. You can see how bad the car is just not wanting to turn in, and he's still putting the fight up. That's what he's got to do. He still needs to make a stop, remember. Obviously not pitting onto that hard tyre. He should probably pit within the next 2 laps, because otherwise he's going to lose a heap full of time, which is not what you want to do. As he loses the back end, I told you did not want to touch that curb, and you can just see now that he's going to get swallowed up. Peanuts is there ready to take the position. Tom Robb too. So yeah, those soft tyres are really dying off. You can see Parados now has cut up that deficit to Firth and Jericho Wells. He is doing a good strategy at the moment. He could be on for first place in just a few moments' time if he can get past on the straight, but there's a bit far ahead at the moment. It looks as though Peanuts and Rare Winter are going side by side as well. Through Blanchimont, it looks as though Rare Winter breaks very late. He just can't get the car stopped, and he's coming into the pit lane. A bit close between him and everyone else, but they seem to have sorted themselves out.
Yep, that was very, very close indeed. Rare Winter makes the late call. I don't think there was any contact with Tom Robb, but it was very, very close as Peanuts tried to make the move on the outside of Blanchimont. And we continue with the top 3 now being in their DRS train. Will we see Verf go for that move? I don't quite know. It would make sense to do so to try and gain every bit of an advantage over Samaxon, but I don't know if they're willing to. We'll see. They go to the inside line. They are willing to. Off goes the battery from the Williams, and Verf will take the racing line. They are working together phenomenally. That's exactly what they need to do to try and make sure that they finish ahead of the so recently Titan of Samaxon with the performances they've been putting in. Now I want to ask Singy, what tyre would you rather be on? What situation would you rather be in with the pit stops, of course? Would you rather be on the softs with a pit stop to go, medium with a pit stop to go, or the hards with no pit stops to go, as Samaxon is losing the car a little bit?
I would love nothing more than to be in Samaxon's position. Obviously the penalty is not ideal. I don't know if it will get removed. It might do, but 1.3 seconds to the main group ahead. You've got someone on mediums behind. The next competitor is an F1 driver. The next real competitor who's on the hard tyres would be Barry, who's how far behind? 5 seconds behind, and he's your teammate. It's looking very good for Samaxon at the moment. He's just about to catch up to that group. He will overtake them inevitably, and it's going to be looking very, very good for him in terms of not only the race win, but the championship as well. There's still a long way to go, as we say. The pit lane's very short. There could be a lot of variables that will determine the outcome of this race, but at this moment in time, if he can just efficiently get past these cars, I can't see a reason as to why he won't win this race.
Now, this is a circuit which can be very, very brutal at times. We've already seen a DNF from Fireball No Name. It can be very slippy. We'll see how it goes, and the tyres aren't going to be easy towards the closing stages of this Grand Prix as well, and the racing can be very close as well. So it could all change for Sir Maxon. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, Frantic is not going to have a nice chance. We're going to get the McLaren very close to the back of the Williams as they go to the outside line. A very, very, very nice defence right there from Jericho Willis. Just keeping their car slightly to the right-hand side of the circuit, not making it easy for Gogo to decide where to go. They couldn't decide where to go, and they just had to let it happen. So a brilliant, brilliant job right there. These guys are racing very, very smart up the front. Top three are doing a good job. Now they make it for with Sir Maxon getting involved. Now Sir Maxon's just got to try and score as many points. Do you think he will be going for the victory, even though it looks like it could be very possible to do so, or do you think he will be just trying to score those points? Because scoring points in the scenario that they're currently in is absolutely a brilliant opportunity. You know, you always want to win, but really, surely they've just got to make sure that they don't take risks.
Well, Aaron, I think I speak for everyone on the grid here. You race to win, and I think Sir Maxon and everyone else is going to be going flat out to do so. He knows he needs to be smart about it, and he needs to be careful. There's a lot of movement in the braking zone there from Pados and Jericho Willis, as Jericho Willis does come into the pit lane. So yellow flag as well for that'll be Rear Winter. But yeah, you race to win, Aaron. That's how it is. You know this. And I think Sir Maxon, especially, even in the situation he's in, he's just going to have to go for those maximum points to give himself the best chance of winning the championship. And I don't see a reason why he can't do it. So Sir Maxon's definitely going to go for it, yes.
Yeah, we'll see for sure. But Jericho Willis defending from Gergo into the bus stop chicane and then decided to go into the pit lane. That means that the McLaren will not get DRS, and as you see on your screen, Sir Maxon will get an easy swoop into the lead of the Grand Prix. That is exactly what they didn't want to happen. Rear Winter retires in the pit lane. Another terrible race for the Racing Ball driver, and I don't know what to say. Such a shame. They've been performing brilliantly throughout the season, but just never quite getting the result that they really want, and unfortunately that is yet another race for them with a DNF to their name. Jericho Willis has gone for that undercut. Lap 9-10ish they went into the pit lane, of course. They're now on those medium tyres. They've still got a long way to go in this race, but that undercut could be very, very nice. And those tyres, according to my experience, I did do a race here recently, should be good to go to the end. Just whether they'll be quick enough, I don't quite know. They've still got to do basically, what is that, 13 qualifying laps, if I'm correct in saying, all the way to the end of the Grand Prix to make sure that they have a chance at catching Sir Maxon.
Yeah, they are 18 seconds behind, of course, as well. And saying that Sir Maxon's got that penalty, but we'll ignore that for a moment. Verf going to come into the pit lane, giving the DRS and the clean air to Sir Maxon. Pados is going to stay a little bit longer. That's interesting. I don't know if he's going to go for the soft tyres, initially push, get a few seconds away from his rivals, and then try and use the DRS of the cars ahead to his advantage, or he'll hop on this into the hard tyres and push for it near the end. It's going to be very tricky for him in the situation that he's in, because he's going to have to go further than everyone else, but still pit. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. He's got the DRS on Sir Maxon, who of course has been very quick this weekend as well. P1 at the moment, so Pados doesn't really need to do anything at the moment. He just needs to stay behind, carry that slipstream, that DRS, look after the tyres a little bit, and then when it's time to go, push ahead and really just see what happens.
Yep, we will do indeed. That is very close to the back of Jericho Willis there onto the hard tyre. So we'll see what those guys can do a little bit later on. We just saw Gogo just about hold on to DRS range of Sir Maxon, which is brilliant because it means those tyres will lose less relative lap time compared to what they would have done if they were just in clean air, basically. Also, Barry Kruger Terence and Bredescool very close to one another, and Terence just about managed to hold on ahead of Bredescool. That was a brilliant little moment we saw going down the Kemmel Straight. It was incredibly high speed. Terence didn't need to worry about catching up to Barry and then needing to try and make a decision whether they wanted to overtake or not, because there was a big enough gap, but they were able to do enough to hold on ahead of Bredescool, who couldn't quite get it on the double DRS, and Terence managed to just use a little bit more energy and straight line speed to get in front right there. We do see, the McLaren going to the pit lane, and that will now be them going for slightly a later pit stop window compared to the soft tyre runners. Is that the right decision, or should they have waited a little bit longer to get onto a soft tyre?
No, I think if you're going to lose time, you're going to have to do it on the soft tyre, because you might lose a little bit more, but if you can initially just get ahead, get to that front pack is where you need to be, then I don't see why there'd be an issue. He's going to come out P8, just about keeping off in the lines, I think, there. Tom Robb behind by 1.2. He's on that hard tyre, a fresh hard tyre actually. He'll be going to the end now, but Paddles needs to make sure that he doesn't get overtaken by Tom, otherwise that'll probably be his race ruined. Because even if it's half a lap, you stop behind the hard tyre runner on this strategy, yeah, it's not going to be looking good, but I think he's fine for the moment, as we see Sir Maxon's now 3.5 seconds clear of Peanut, so he's looking very good. His teammate is in P3, he'll be really gonna keeping that Aston Martin of Terence behind for a moment. Bredescool can't really do anything, his tyres are going to die off eventually, and he's going to be very susceptible to Jericho Willis, so I think he'll be out of it. But Jericho Willis is very quick, he's caught up, let me check. Only 3 seconds within the last 3 laps, so it's not looking good for him at the moment. He needs to pick up the pace a little bit, but at the same time, Sir Maxon will drop off a bit, and so but it might be later on, so I'm not sure how it's going to work out. We'll just have to wait and see.
We will have to wait and see. Now, we have got the little triple battle of cars of Terence, Barry and Bredescool all close together, of course, fighting for their positions. Terence is very close to the back of that Red Bull, but not going to be making an overtake. Now, we quickly look, as we wait for the Kemmel Straight to come about, we quickly look at Jericho Willis, Verf and Gergo. Do you think Verf and Jericho should be fighting that soft tyre runner, or do you think they should let them go and try and work with that tyre instead?
No, you want to definitely work with that tyre. Of course, there's no benefit of you just holding up a faster runner like that, unless of course you're say you're Charlie and Niffo, Charlie's behind and that's Heisler behind you. But I don't see a point in that if these guys are so far behind anyway. They'd want to work together, so yeah, there's no point of him doing that. As we see Terence makes that move up into P3. Good job from him. He's up into the podium places now. He's got Peanuts ahead, who's a higher tier driver, so that's him provisionally up into P2.
Brilliant stuff right there. Terence currently doing a very good job. Would they be able to hold on ahead of Jericho Willis and Verf, who are working very, very nicely at the moment? Verf not making an overtake on Jericho because they're just trying to hold on to DRS and make these hard tyres work whilst they don't quite have the performance advantage over that medium. And then their roles are going to be reversing a little bit later on into the Grand Prix. Verf will be trying to carry Jericho Willis a bit further forward. Jericho Willis trying to see if he can catch up and finish as close as he can to Sir Maxon to stay in this fight. Verf trying to win his first ever Grand Prix. Will it happen before we get to the end of the season? Well, for his sake, I sure do hope so. And 1.9 seconds now, the McLaren is catching up to the cars ahead. Tom Robb was being brought with him for a few moments. Now they're at risk of losing that DRS range. They might be able to find it again, but we'll see how that one goes. They are high-tier drivers, so they're not racing for the title or for any championship position, but they are giving it their best shot, of course, and trying to still get a good result if they can do so. 4 seconds now, Sir Maxon leads. Verf goes for fastest lap. The McLaren Pados goes and takes it immediately back. It's all very, very competitive right now as everyone is trying to make sure that they get these quick laps in. With that fastest lap there from Verf, just for a moment at least, do you think it's now time to start thinking about overtaking that Williams?
Not this lap, because he's not close enough. Maybe. This slipstream is very powerful coming into the bus stop. Get close enough. You can definitely do it, but yeah, you don't want to waste too much time overtaking someone at an unorthodox location, otherwise you might just ruin it for both of you. So for the best chance for him, he should overtake him next lap, coming into the column, and I think that'll probably be the best for both of these guys' races.
For sure. We'll see how that one goes later on. We do currently have Samaxon leading the way, Peanuts P2, Terence in P3, Barry Kruger in P4. Both Red Bulls looking to be in a very good position here in the race order right now. That being said, I think Barry's probably going to lose this advantage within a few laps' time. They're giving it a good shot, and they're very close to the back of Terence, of course. It could still be a good result for anyone here. You never know until you get to the line, of course. Now, Terence sits in current P3, P2 for the EU drivers. They've won here before. Will it be possible to do it again? I don't quite know. But they do have some very quick cars catching up to them. They've caught up to Brothers Call. Brothers Call isn't too far away from the next two ahead either. So this is going to be interesting. How hard will Brothers Call fight these guys? Would you fight them if you were Bred, Zingy?
If I'm Bred, would I fight these guys behind? No, there's no real point, really, is there? He's got a penalty, he's got very old tyres, and it's only going to be a matter of time before Jericho will get past it. He'll get past him straight, actually. And maybe not, Bredesco is using the battery, he's not got much left. He's under 10%, you can see by the flashing light. He's catching up a lot, moving one too many times, but it's absolutely fine because he wasn't really close enough. And Bredesco is going to maintain the position. This is going to kill Jericho Willis' race. He needs to get ahead before the next lap. There's no doubt about it. You can just see how painfully slow Bredesco is on that tyre. Not because he's not fast, he is very quick, but that tyre is absolutely shocking. So he's not having a good time out there, but he's going to do everything that he can to try and maintain the best position he can do in this race. So Jericho Willis, of course, frustrated. He's trying to look for the move. They are a bit of a tap in the rear end. He's pushed on the side. He's going to have to let him go there, because you can't really push someone out of the way and then go for the move. He's going to stay behind. They've lost already a second this lap. He's going to go for the move after pushing him once again up on the curb. He's pushed him once again. Someone's going to have to stop this guy. He's getting very aggressive. Bredesco is going to use the remaining of the battery. It looks as though it's going to be free wide. Firth's going to go around the outside of both of them. They've been swapping each other too much. And it looks as though Firth has went right around the outside of both of them. What a move!
Absolutely incredible right there. That is just about how it goes. I don't know what to say, but Verf gets ahead and might be, is out of DRS range right now. There will be an opportunity for Bred to catch back up, and here comes the McLaren, who absolutely sends it and makes it work. Sensational move right there. And no, Jericho Willis has just lost out big time. They tried to make the move, it didn't work. They tried to do it again, it didn't work, and now they've ended up losing even more. We're going to get the McLaren coming around the outside. Jericho Willis is going to try and follow through, and they will do so. That Racing Bull is a sitting duck, and now these guys will just try and hunt down the other cars. That soft tyre is going to be crucial to try and catch up to Verf, but with Verf being on that tyre that will only get quicker, they are in the best possible position to get a good result here. Would they still win this Grand Prix? I don't quite know, but we will find out in a few laps time. That was really I don't know, I want to say tough to watch. It wasn't tough to watch, it was just so intense. Jericho Willis just trying to get through the Racing Bull, maybe in the wrong parts of the circuit, not really judging correctly the pace of that car that was on the old tyres, just making a little bit of contact here and there, did try and get through, but yeah, eventually it does work out. Now they're stuck behind the soft tyre. I say stuck behind, they're a very quick car on that soft tyre, but they're not going to be quick for long.
Yeah, no, definitely not. That soft tyre will die off within the next lap or so. Jericho Willis has, lack of a better word, been kicked in the nuts and then thrown in the dust of fire. So, yeah, the race hasn't gone very well for him in these last few laps. He's going to try and, of course, fight his way back. On that medium tyre, it's going to be an uphill battle, though. He needed to get past ASAP, and he's just not done that. He's not been clinical enough, went behind another car, and he's very much so paid the price. Verf, on the other hand, absolutely cooking up in P5. The strategy seems to work very well for him. He's taken those risks, calculated and aggressive, and that is him going to be up behind Terence and Barry Kruger, who's going to look for the move on the Aston Martin as I'm talking about him, coming into the com, and that's him up into P2 provisionally, of course with Peanuts being a higher tier driver. But Verf, how much laps is that? 9-10 lap old younger tyres? He's going to be so much quicker, and I wouldn't be surprised if he can get back up into P2 and no bother.
Not only outright quicker, but more consistent. The more grip you have, the more predictable those tyres will be, of course. But we'll see how that one goes. Barry making that move and being very aggressive on trying to make sure that they get ahead. It works, but it was pretty close, I will be honest. They've managed to do it though, and they will sit nicely in that position. Of course, Terence is still within DRS range, but now Verf is also within DRS range and is going to be trying to push for an overtake, I am sure. And with, as you said, Zingy, that tyre advantage, they are going to be having a much easier time of making an overtake compared to the other cars. That being said, with the long straights around here in Belgium, DRS games are really tough to battle against. We'll see what Verf can do. Do they have the energy? We'll find out on the, not next straight, but the straight after this one. We will see what happens. Jericho Willis has made that move on Gergo, who hasn't been able to stay with the Williams, but the Williams hasn't been able to catch up to Verf. They might have an opportunity as the cars ahead of Verf are bunching up a little bit, but I think it might be a little bit too late. Verf has got to try and push for this now or never.
Yeah, as I've said before, he's been clinical in the right areas. Look at that run. Upper Rouge and Radio and Terence is going to have the DRS, but look at Verf, the straight line speed's incredible. He's been saving the battery this lap. Terence literally can't do anything. He has to stay behind the Red Bull. He can't just turn into Verf there. So very well done from Aston Martin to recognise that. Very well done from Barrett for keeping himself up in the competitive position. And Verf is now up into P2. He's going to be much faster than the guys ahead. He's got 5 laps to go after this. No, he's got 5 laps to go now to try his best to see if he can close that gap up. The penalty, 10 seconds, as we say for Simon Axon, that might be removed, but Peanuts has got a free, and that is definitely legitimate, sorry, I should say. So he has got the chance to get P2 on track, which is, of course, what everyone wants. And even at that, if he just breaks DRS from these guys, he should be absolutely fine until the end of the race.
We really don't know what's going to happen here with the time penalties, of course, but regardless of Verf's decision, they've just got to, or opinion on whether they think it's legit or not, they've just got to push to the absolute maximum and try and hold on. If I'm Sir Maxon, I'm going to be asking my teammate a few questions. What team are you really on? He did not defend into Le Com, and although it probably wouldn't have been that much beneficial to actually defend, I would have still given it a shot. Doesn't do it, and it's going to be in a good position for their own race by doing so, so at least there is that. But Terence is so close, they're being pressured into making a move. They move to the inside line, but then do back off eventually. Jericho Willis is going to possibly look at making a double overtake here if he can do. Barry saving a lot of energy on that lap. Maybe they can defend this time. Terence not quite so close. Jericho Willis is going to be looking to make this move immediately now. Here it goes.
Yep, Jericho Willis is going to look for the move. Barry defends to the inside. Jericho Willis can't really do much. Oh, Terence has made contact. He's made contact. Barry moving a bit late there on the straight. It looks so Jericho Willis has finally made his way up into 4th place. Terence again just stuck behind that Red Bull. Not because he's not fast enough to overtake, but he's just physically, he just can't get past the car. He's placing his car very well. Maybe a bit aggressively, some might say, but at the end of the day, he's doing very well to keep that position. And unfortunately for Terence, that means he's going to be struggling now with that very, very fast soft runner of Paddles behind him. Running wide to both of them, synchronised as well. So you can see that the tyre is getting to all these drivers. A bit of fatigue as well. It's been a long race. And so with a few laps to go, you're going to have to take your risks and stuff like that. We've seen the Verf do that already. He's now up into P3, flying away. And if Jericho can do the same thing, I'm sure he'll have his P3 locked in.
For sure, and well, unfortunately for Jericho, P3 isn't enough. They need to finish P2 to be able to stay in this championship battle. Now, that was very, very close. Terence trying to overtake Barry. Barry trying to overtake both of them, and all of a sudden has a bit of a blocked view on what Barry's doing, and then they're just trying to see what's going on, and it was so difficult to judge. A brilliant defense to stay ahead from Jericho Willis. They really seem to be able to know what they're doing there, but they now do have a big train of cars behind them who are going to be looking to probably try and make that move. Definitely Barry will be doing such a thing, because if Verf was to get a time penalty all of a sudden, then Jericho stays in this championship battle, so they need to try and get them out of a 3-second range at least. We'll see how that one goes. I don't think they're going to be in a position to overtake after all, so unfortunately Verf will, Barry will not be able to do that. We're going to get the McLaren ahead of Terence, and they make that move nicely. That means Terence is P6 for the current tier drivers.
Kruger making a mistake coming into the hairpin now. No, he's not going to make the move. Not there anyway. But it's just showing that the hard tyres have really, really gone off. Maybe the tyre was a bit higher. It was cloudy in our race. I do remember that. So maybe the tyre's getting a bit hot, overheating a little bit. That could be a reason as to why these guys are struggling so much. Terence doing so well the whole race, and now he's got a 3-second time penalty. He's dropping back even further. He's done his best up until this point, but it's just a bit unfortunate things the way things have gone, and that's going to be him dropping even further back in this race. But if he can just maybe get it back into DRS of Kruger, use a bit of that battery, he could still have a chance of finishing in a good position.
They're trying their best to hold on with that hard tyre, that soft tyre not quite working too well. Tom Robb wants to try and have a go as he sees that the McLaren car isn't really in a position to make a move. Maybe that would actually help Gergos if he does let Tom go through, if Tom was able to try and catch up a little bit of pace. Right now, lap 21, the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix, Samaxon goes through Radion, and they continue to lead this Grand Prix. Peanuts in P2, Verf 0.8 seconds away from Peanuts' time penalty range, and is looking to try and make that position. P2 would be brilliant. They're currently P2 for the EU drivers regardless. 3-second advantage that they have over Jericho Willis. Barry not in DRS range, so all of a sudden the top few drivers are completely spread out. Terence almost within DRS range of catching back to Barry. Will they be able to look at a P4 here in Belgium, a circuit that they've won at before? If they can get another good result, that would be phenomenal, but they've got a bit of an arse to get that DRS back. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah, it's very difficult at this moment in the race. Jericho Willis, by the way, even though I was slating him earlier on, he has managed to get back up into that podium position, and that's the type of driving you do need, even if you have a rough couple of laps. He's kept his head in the game. He's managed to pull away from the rest of the pack. He's now got 1 and a bit laps to go, just to try and maybe stay within 3 seconds, hope that Verf gets a penalty, and that could be him up into P2, but it doesn't look like it at the moment. But there's been a lot of good driving. We've seen some Maxon up in P1 doing well. Peanuts, of course, being a higher tier driver, but doing very well. Verf for that amazing move around the outside of Blanchard on the corner, he's just going through now. Jericho Welsh for that recovery. And overall, the battling's been very good around this track, hasn't it? It's been very entertaining and very aggressive, which is what we like, and thankfully it's not been too climactic at the moment.
Yep, for sure. Well said indeed. We start the final lap of the Grand Prix. Gergo Pados will be looking to try and have a go on the final lap of the Grand Prix to get ahead of Tom. They're actually looking to go for the inside move already. They're hoping that they can get the DRS off of Terence, but they've made a mistake. They'll get the DRS back off the Ferrari. They just want to try and get the position on track after all. Maybe they'll be in a position to be able to get ahead of Terence, but I don't know. That's going to be a very, very difficult ask. Right now, with no time penalties Verf has, they just got 1/10 of a second to try and make here to get Peanuts on track. On time penalties. That would be a brilliant effort from them to come back from this strategy. It was the right strategy for what Sir Maxon chose, for what Frantic chose, for what so many drivers chose, but Verf so far has made it work nicely. Jericho Willis has made it work nicely. honestly, they've managed to make such a good effort. That soft tyre maybe wasn't the call, but they gave it their best shot, did Pados. They've done a phenomenal job on their debut, so welcome to LSI. Unfortunately, I've just given them commentator's curse, but they won't lose a position to Tom as their high-tier driver. They score points differently, of course. It's been a brilliant effort from Verf on this final lap, who's managed to make it 2.5 seconds, but we look with this man. Simaxon has done everything they needed to do, and they go from P12 to P1. Simaxon wins the F1.5 Grand Prix in Belgium. It wasn't P12, it was P9 I think it was, but still pretty much last to first. Peanuts crosses the line in P2, but Verf will get it in the end. Verf will obviously take the victory just about, but we'll have to double check on how that will go with penalties later on. It could be that Verf has just won their first ever Grand Prix. It could possibly be. Jericho Willis gets that P4, gets P3, and depending on how this time penalty goes, they are still in contention for the championship, as it says on your screen right now. As it says on your screen, Barry P5, Terence, Tom Rob, Pados, and Brothers Cool will finish off this race.
Well, that was very entertaining for the whole thing. We had obviously some accident coming from P9 to P1, and then maybe keeping that with the time penalty. Who knows? We'll have to review that, and we'll get back to you guys on that eventually. But yeah, what a race, man! A lot of overtaking, a lot of strategy involved. At the end of the day, it was the hard tyre, which was the dominant tyre of choice. So we've seen Simaxon get through the field. Verf managed to just get it on track. And yeah, very, very, very entertaining race.
Yep, it was good indeed. Now, of course, we don't quite know the order, so we'll have to check that later on. But as it says on your screen right now, Verf wins their first ever Grand Prix here in Belgium. Simaxon in P2, then we've got Peanuts, Jericho Willis, Barry Kruger, Terence, then we've got Tom Rob, Pados, Bredescore, the fastest lap, DNFing earlier on was Ray Winter, Frantic, and Fireball on the opening lap. That is the race director. One more time, I'm just going through it again, even though we have already gone through it, just to make sure it's not forgotten. We will be back for the post-race interviews. If you're watching the full race replay, we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.